Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm a psychologist by training, and normally when I give a talk, I've got tons of data, and usually PowerPoint and lots of stuff like that. So this kind of freaked me out a little bit. So to get into the zone, the TED zone or the IX zone, I decided to start with a question of what would the world be like if there wasn't an IUPUI? What would the world be like if there wasn't a dynamic urban campus just on the banks of the White River, just a little bit west of downtown? What would our city be like? Would the absence of our campus have a ripple effect on our state? Could it be felt in other parts of the world? Well, for one thing, there wouldn't be an answer to that dumb Jeopardy question of what's the longest name of an institution of higher education in the United States. Or I guess there would be one, but it wouldn't be Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. No more palindrome. No matter which way you read it, IUPUI is IUPUI, forward, backward, whatever way. We wouldn't have the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy to help guide and shape the practice of philanthropy around the world. We would have a tough time, especially in the month of May, around the Speedway, without that partnership with the Motorsports Engineering Program. And it might be hard to find a dentist, given that the only school of dentistry in our state is located on campus. So my job today, or this afternoon, is for 10 minutes, talk with sort of a laser-sharp focus on the impact that IUPUI has on our state, in our communities, and in the world. And I'm supposed to do that in hopefully an engaging and moderately entertaining way without sounding like an infomercial, which is gonna be hard because I'm so excited about our campus that it's hard not to sound like an infomercial. It drives my husband crazy at parties, but I'll try. So here we go. So back in 1967, then Mayor and future US Senator Richard Lugar argued that every city needs at its heart a great university. And that's really important, of course, for fostering technology and scientific discovery, but it's also really, really important in urban campuses to have universities who can partner around significant problems of urban development and the like. And I would say that nearly 50 years after making that statement, IUPUI is fulfilling this vision. It's the campus in Indiana where the largest number of Hoosiers are enrolled. In fact, just last month at Lucas Oil Stadium, there were 6,717 students receiving their degree. And most of those students stay in the state of Indiana, where they have a profoundly positive effect on our state's economy. But it's the role that IUPUI plays as an urban campus that makes me most proud at this time. I believe that IUPUI helps make Indianapolis a stronger city, both through the role that our faculty play in terms of helping to solve complex problems in business, in the nonprofit sector, in healthcare and education, but also in the work that our students do. We've been recognized repeatedly by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching as a community-engaged campus. This is just great because it means that so many of our students have experiences working in the community and gaining incredibly important skills. Just the last year, we had over 8,000 students engaged in some form of service learning activity, logging 365,206 hours, I memorized that, of service that gave back to the city of Indianapolis. It's also a wonderful way for students to really understand why they're learning the things that they're learning. It helps them to draw connections between their classroom and the world around them and the problems that we confront. It also gives them an incredibly wonderful experience in terms of preparing for careers and for graduate school. But what about global impact? So since 2000, the number of international students studying at IUPUI has tripled. Right now, it's just over 7% of the undergraduate student body, which is still pretty small. But having students from other countries on our campus provides unparalleled opportunities for American students to learn about countries that they might never actually visit themselves. And the diversity of experiences and backgrounds in the classroom helps our students to learn immeasurably about problems that are complex and significant in the real world. One such student I'll just mention briefly because I've gotten to know him fairly well. In my prior role, I was dean of our university college. And as dean, I got to know one of our student leaders whose name was IUPUI. Some of you who were connected with the Top 100 event that we hold back in April might remember that IO actually was our top male student. And that was a surprise. I mean, I knew he was wonderful, but he was so modest and so humble. He'd only told me a bit about what he had been doing. Io is from Nigeria originally, and he wants to be a neurosurgeon. He's a biology major, studying very hard to get into medical school. And he's also very interested in research. He's engaged in an undergraduate research project this summer, actually, in neurobiology. He has been part of the Norm Brown Diverse Leader Scholars Program. He's been a Sam H. Jones Community Scholar. He's worked at the Math Assistance Center and logged countless hours as a tutor for biology students who things don't come as easy to them sometimes as they do for him. He's managed to do all of this while maintaining a 4.0 GPA, and he's just delightful to know and to be around. And I think that it's students like Io that truly make a difference at IUPUI, but they also make a difference when they go back to their home countries and have an impact in their careers and as leaders in their communities. I also think that study abroad is a very important way that Indiana University has global reach. At IUPUI, just over 1/3 of our students engaged in study abroad combine that study with an international service project. These tend to be clustered at universities where we have what we consider to be strategic partnerships in Moy, in Eldoret, Kenya, in China, and in Mexico. And I think one of the best examples of these sorts of projects is something called the AMPATH project. AMPATH stands for Academic Models of Providing Access to Healthcare. And it began in the 1980s in the School of Medicine as a very small-scale educational exchange program that was actually aimed at helping Moy University to develop their first School of Medicine. But since then, it's vastly increased in its size and its scope. It now involves a number of institutions around the United States as well as Africa. And what started as a small program with the School of Medicine has now broadened to include faculty and students from our schools of dentistry, social work, liberal arts, nursing, and law. Faculty and students are working together with faculty and students in Kenya, helping to tackle some of the world's most significant healthcare problems. And what I love most about this project is the benefits are mutual. There is a lot to be learned from working in developing countries. Some of our medical students have reported that when they've returned to the United States, there's clearly implications when working with low-income populations in urban centers of what's known to work in developing countries. There is also recently a longitudinal study published about students who have had these global health experiences. And it was found that compared to a control group, students having these experiences were significantly more likely to serve underserved populations in the United States once they were physicians, as well as to have a profoundly sharp focus on public health and access to global health care, which I believe is a very good thing. So I think AMPATH is one of the best examples of Indiana University's global impact, and it's truly reaping benefits decades since it was originally initiated. So let me close by telling you just one more story of a very different kind of student who's connected in a very small way with the AMPATH program. She illustrates another way I think that IUPUI has a very important impact, this time on our community. Almost 4,000 staff work in a variety of positions on the IUPUI campus. One of them, Ms. Avis Friesen, is a mother, a grandmother, a full-time employee in our registrar's office, and a part-time student. Ms. Friesen somehow miraculously juggles work with school, with family, and with an incredible amount of service to her community. She's involved in a number of African American organizations, gives back repeatedly to her church, has worked with the Gleaners Food Bank, she's worked in Goodwill Industries, helping seniors to prepare for job interviews, just an amazing amount of things, an amazing array of things. She's also a model of perseverance in that she's done all of this while juggling these competing responsibilities. And she's modeled how important it is to take advantage of supports that are offered, rather than shying away or shirking from being involved on campus. She has willingly and enthusiastically received help through our Math Assistance Center, through our Speakers Lab, through our Writing Center. She's even signed up for coaching through our Degree Completion Office. She's been a truly wonderful ambassador for IUPUI, and she just received her bachelor's degree this past May. She argues that the more she learned, the more excited she grew about her future learning, and that she couldn't get over the possibilities that had opened up for her. She's currently working in the registrar's office, but trying to decide between a master's in social work and a master's in philanthropic studies. And I think, at least for me, she's a reminder of how important staff are, not only for supporting the educational mission of Indiana University, but also for modeling what it means to be a lifelong learner to other students. So Indiana University truly is an unparalleled place to learn, to discover new truths, and hopefully to change the world through the power of discovery and through the power of service. Our alumni touch every state and reach all corners of the globe, and I'm convinced that our alumni are doing important things that are impacting the future of our planet every day. To those of you who are here, we are truly grateful for your leadership. I'm honored to have been asked to address you this afternoon, and thank you so much for your attention.